Uninformed immigrants are at a huge disadvantage in court, in financial and legal matters, and also sometimes in life. Well, what can we do about it? I'll tell you what. We can train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to maximize their lives regardless of their immigration status. And that's exactly what we're going to do here. I am your immigration lawyer and host, Otis Landerholm, and this is the Empowered Immigrant Podcast. All right, hello. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Podcast. We are here to train, to teach, to inspire, and to empower immigrants to make the most out of their lives. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm Otis Landerholm. I am the host here on the Empowered Immigrant Podcast. And today I want to talk about Ironman and my adventure here training up for an Ironman 70.3 triathlon that I'm doing on Sunday of this next coming week. So I'm recording this, it's September 7th of 2021. On Sunday, I'm going to do a triathlon event where, and I've been training up a lot for this, 1.1 mile swim, followed by a 50 plus mile bike ride, followed by a half marathon, 13.1 mile run, all back to back to back. Okay. And let me tell you, 2 years ago, I had never done anything even remotely like this. 2 years ago, I was thinking about my physical fitness, and I viewed swimming as a challenge for myself. I know how to stay afloat, but I'd never been a very strong swimmer. And so I was like, what can I do about that? And what I saw is there was this community triathlon, and I bike well, I run well, but I'm not a very strong swimmer. I was never on swim team, nothing like that. And so I was like, I was looking at it, and along with this community triathlon, they had a series of swim lessons, all right, that were for adults who were beginners and who were learning how to swim. And so I was like, wow, how cool. And so I signed up, all right? And let me tell you, when I first did that, I went to these swim lessons and I was the worst, right? There were like old ladies that were swimming in the pool and they were beating me as I was like trying to swim through the pool. And that's how I started, and that's where I started. And when we start to learn new things, or when we take on a new challenge in our lives, we've got to start somewhere. And it's always the case, it's inevitably the case that we start out weak, and we have to kind of build up our familiarity with, and we have to build up our muscles, and we have to build up everything else, our comfort level even. When I first started swimming, I didn't know how to breathe very well. I'd swim a few strokes and then I'd like come up panting for air because I wasn't familiar with, the way to rotate your body and breathe while you're swimming forward. And so it took practice. That's really what it takes. It takes practice and discipline and doing it and it's okay if the old ladies who've been swimming forever pass you a million times as you're trying to get familiar with it and as you're trying to learn a new skill. That is part of the process. All right. And so I did my first little triathlon, very little triathlon. I had to do 17 laps in the pool, and I was one of the last people out of the pool. All right. And that was 2 years ago. And since that time, I've been trying and trying again. And I joined a swim team, and I joined, I was doing trainings, and then all of that was shut down during the pandemic. And then I had to reserve a little lane every once in a while to continue swimming. And I've been focusing on running and biking and all that stuff. All of that is now coming together this weekend this weekend I am doing a triathlon event that is we call it the Ironman 70.3. It's not the full Ironman, all right? It is a 70.3 mile long triathlon event, including swimming, biking, and running. And I've got to beat certain amount of times. I'm going to start at like 6:30 in the morning out of Santa Cruz, swimming in the ocean. And then right afterwards, I'll get on my bike and I'll bike for 50 plus miles. And then I'll run a half marathon, all back to back to back. And here's the thing. If I can do that, all right, if I can do that, what are you capable of? And what can you do? I'd never swam before, competitively or otherwise, really, in my life. And it just took 2 years to build up to this. And hopefully I survived the thing, you know. I'm putting it out there. I will survive it. I'm not in it to win it. I'm in it to you know, have a full day of serious exercise and see what my own body's capable of. But it's like, what's your body capable of? What are you capable of? What do you want to accomplish? And what's the first baby step? Because whatever we want to accomplish in life, it's got to start somewhere. It's got to start with some kind of baby step. All right. And it takes courage. It takes setting your ego aside. And, oh, I don't want to look foolish. All right. I don't want to look foolish jumping into a swimming pool and not knowing what I'm doing, or asking people for help, or asking somebody for advice, or looking up on the internet, where's a place where I can get some new lessons to learn this new skill that I want to take on. It's like, you got to be willing to put yourself out there, put your ego aside, be willing to look foolish for a little bit as you practice, and then get better, and then improve more, and then take on the challenge. And so what's an area of your life that you want to take on? What is an area of your life you want to take on? And think about what first steps you need to go through in order to make that happen, and then do it. Do it. Take that first step. Take those baby steps. Take it on. And who knows, 2 years from now, I might see you in Santa Cruz as you do a triathlon with me, or, you know, take on whatever it is that matters to you. All right. So thank you so much for being here with me. You know, triathlon events, physical fitness are open to everybody. They don't care what your immigration status is. Go for it. Go for it. Do it. In fact, every time you do one, you see people holding up flags from their country because they're proud of where they're from. All right. And people from all over the world compete in these things. And so anyway, it's really inspiring to see it. Thank you for being with me, and take on something in your life. Go for it. All right. You know, and you don't have to feel like, oh, I never learned this when I was a kid, so I can't do that. That's not the case. You can learn new skills, and you can challenge yourself in ways you've never thought possible. It just takes being willing to start, and then be willing to persist. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for being with me. We'll see you on the next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Podcast. I'm Otis Landerholm, Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Empowered Immigrant Podcast. If you like what you heard, and if you want to learn more, please go to landerholmimmigration.com/podcast.